listening to SFP-NOW.
Okay, I'd like to welcome a new up-and-coming actor who's been coming on great guns in recent years, Cory Grüter Andrew, to the show. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. And anyway, just going to ask you a few questions about your recent films and some of the work that you've been doing since you started acting. And I guess the best one to get started with is how did you get into acting? Is it something that you wanted to do, or was you a bit unsure of it at first?
Yeah, definitely. At first, I was so unsure. I actually had stage fright for years, which is kind of funny now that you think about it. But my mom and dad would, kind of hint at me every year or so. They'd go, "Hey, Cory, maybe in the coming school year you should sign up for an acting class or something." And I'm like, I'm gonna look stupid. But then when I actually did it, I decided to say, why not? Just try new things, because that's a good thing in life, trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved it. It was a theater class that I did, and it was amazing. And then I decided to go into a film and TV class because I was, curious about that as well. And that was even better because I prefer film over theater personally, and I really enjoyed that. So, from there I just got really lucky. I got an agent through an open casting call and premiere, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Cool. If you don't mind me asking, why is it you prefer TV and film over theatre? Was it because of the spontaneity of theatre? You find that a little bit too nerve-wracking? It's
nerve-wracking. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy theater, but film and TV is just much nicer for me because it's like, what I usually do is, if we're shooting a 1.5 hour film, the night before, I'll go look at the sides for the scenes that we're doing the next day, and I'll get those down pat. And with theater, it's totally different. You have to learn everything at once and then perform it all at once, which, it's always been a little nerve-wracking for me. You're right.
Mm. Yeah. I know all about theatre. I actually trained as a theatrical actor myself. So like in my late teens, early 20s, and but then again, I've been acting since the age of 4, one way or another. So I do understand where you're coming from with it being nerve-wracking and so forth, and trust me when I say you're not the only person to have suffered from stage fright. I used to have it unbelievably bad, so I can completely empathise there. But talking about some of the TV work, it seemed to happen pretty quickly for you, didn't it? Because looking at IMDb, you seem to book roles in some really, really cool stuff, such as Legends of Tomorrow, Van Helsing, and The 100. Would you like to talk a little bit about those experiences?
So the first show I was on is called Fargo, which films in Calgary.
Cool.
My first actual audition, don't know how, but I booked it, and I worked on Fargo, and that was really fun to do because I flew out to Calgary for my first role. And the first night I was there, I just wanted to stay on set all night. I was almost falling asleep. But shows like Legends, The 100, those were so fun to work on. I got to meet, all the main cast. They're such nice people to work with. They're really great, and that was it was really enjoyable because honestly, it's for me, it's all about the experience that I'm gaining from this.
And plus, from some of the back and forth had on Twitter, you're a fan of superheroes as well, so that couldn't have hurt either.
Yeah, yeah. That's a villain too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got that. That's even better. You got to play a villain. You know, how many actors your age can say, "Oh, I got to play a villain in a superhero show"?
Not a whole lot. I'm lucky when it comes to that. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And the villains get the best lines, of course.
Oh yeah, it's all dramatic, theatrical. You know, it's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, moving on to your film roles, you've finished work on 2 big films. You've got Summer of '84, which has an interesting premise and stuff like that. I'm wondering if you'd like to talk a little bit about that.
It's just so interesting. I love. There's this whole 4 boys, this band of boys coming together and. Going on this hunt for a serial killer. That's just really, I like that a lot because I watched Stand By Me a long time ago, at least 2 years ago now. And I like that movie a lot. And then when I read the script for Summer of '84, I definitely got reminded of that. It definitely gives that vibe, and I really like that.
I completely understand where you're coming from there. Stand By Me is a fantastic movie. Nate River Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And a very, very young Jack Bauer in there as well, sort of like Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
In Summer of '84, it's set in the 80s, sort of like, what was it you actually liked playing within that particular decade in the film?
Honestly, for me, Ferriday is just like any other kid in any other time frame, except that he wears these amazing glasses, if I may say so. And, when I look at a character, I see who that character is. Obviously, yes, the time frame he's in would affect it. They wouldn't be using radios. They'd be using cell phones to text. But I really, I just love to see how they lived back then, how if you don't have you to go through how you'd make up these stories in your head and enjoy living them with your friends. I feel like back then it was so much more, people spoke to each other more in person. That's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. And also, do you not think the primitiveness of the technology back then kind of adds to the suspense? You're kind of in danger. You can't sort of like use a cell phone to sort of like call someone and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
In the film, you got to work with Rich Sommer. Yeah. How did you find working with him?
He is such a professional person. I was able to take away so much from watching him interact with everyone on set, and he really is an expert. He knows his way around the set well, and I was just, he's a really nice guy too. But I don't know. He was professional but friendly at the same time. I don't know. He's just a great person to work with. He's so nice, and he'll come and go, hey, why don't you try this? Maybe it'll spice up the scene a bit. And I'm like, yeah,
cool.
Sounds. I'd love to take advice from Rich Sommer. He's a seasoned actor.
Another film that you've been involved in is one which the Pope Francis insisted being made. It's called Beyond the Sun, which you shot on location in Argentina. Would you like to talk about that a little bit, because that's sort of like that's kind of like your first starring role, right?
Yeah, it was. It was my first major lead role in a film, and to have it be in Beyond the Sun, a film that was requested and funded by the Vatican, is really unique. This film it's going to reach a broad spectrum of people, I think, because of its religious taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be really cool because I don't know, I talked to them, they were saying it might be dubbed over in this language and this language and this language and this language. And I'm like, wow, that's going to be really, really cool to see. The final product I think is going to be interesting. Honestly, I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
Cool. Did you actually get to meet the Pope?
Sadly, no. We never got to meet the Pope. But maybe, fingers crossed, if the premiere is in Rome or something, meeting. But I'm not expecting anything. It would just be an honor to meet the Pope because it's the Pope.
Well, it's got to be a pretty huge honor to be involved in a project that he and the Vatican's commissioned, as well. I mean, better thought of that when going in initially must have been quite nerve wracking for you in the sense that it's such a big thing.
Yeah, I honestly I was just excited more than nervous. I was going, this is my first major lead role, and I'm going to Argentina to do it. So there was definitely some nervousness there, but the excitement was overriding it. I was just really excited to be there.
Mm-hmm. So what's the film about? The premise.
The premise of the film. So there's this group of kids, these 5 kids, Tom, Claire, Anne, Andrew, and George. Yes. And we all went to the same school, we kind of know each other, and then Andrew goes off one day, and the other 4, including Andrew's sister Claire, go off to help him. And then it turns into this almost mission to, find Jesus. They wanted to find a physical Jesus, but you will have to watch the film to find out what happens after that.
Sounds interesting. I believe you play the oldest of the kids, right?
Yeah, Tom I was the oldest cast member there, yes. But Tom's supposed to be the same age as Claire. Mm-hmm. So they're in the same grade. And it was kind of cool because Tom was kind of a leader and I got to play that. It was fun.
While you was working in Argentina, I mean, I know you must have been on set quite a lot, with you being like the lead and so forth. But did you have any time to soak up any of the culture and feel of Argentina while you was there?
Oh yeah, totally. We never worked weekends, so that was wonderful. We had weekends off, thank you. But during those weekends, we were filming in this little town called San Martin de los Andes, and it was right on the border of Chile and Argentina on the Andes Mountains, which is the between the two countries. And it was just a little mountain town in this valley almost. You could look at the town from our hotel and see the whole thing. And it was just so cultured. It was awesome. We got to go into the town. We visited all these little chocolate shops, these meat shops, cheeses and such. And the price of leather down there is really cheap.
Right. You sold me. I'll go in Argentina next holiday. The shops, you said there was meat shops and stuff like that. Is it kind of like old worldy, as in there wasn't really supermarkets as we have done?
Yeah, there were I think maybe 1, maybe 2 supermarkets, but that was it, and they weren't huge. But a long time ago, a lot of Swiss immigrants came to that town, a lot of Germans as well after the war. And that really brought a lot of European culture to it. So when you would walk through the town, you'd see all these beautiful old wooden buildings, and the architecture there, the foods there, the meats and cheeses. It was crazy. It was like a cluster of cultures. That's what I'll call it. A culture cluster. There we go.
Cool. That's a great description. Another question that I kind of like to ask this one to all actors, irrespective. Now, in acting, whether it's film, theatre, or television, you kind of get to play around in lots of different periods in history. I'm just wondering if there's actually a period in history that you'd love to be able to act within, play a role in.
Certainly, 100%. The late 1800s to early 1900s, I feel is where the world of technology really took a turn, and I would love to go, see how they did it. All these old cars that were, a new thing back then, and I'd love to see how they got around, how you got help, because there was obviously no phones back then, and I would just love to take a trip down that lane someday.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can see where you're going there. It's a really exciting time, the development of the railroads and telephone communications and it all opening up. Final question, and this is a fun one, is if you could actually get to play any comic book character, which one would it be and why?
The Joker, 100%. I've loved all that have played the Joker, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto. They've all done such a good job. And I feel like the Joker, when I break down a character, I break down the psychology of a character, and I absolutely love that. And I feel like the Joker would be so fun to do that with. So that would definitely be my superhero / villain role, dream role, the Joker.
You never know, maybe in about 10 years' time. It sounds to me like you come at acting from sort of like kind of the method approach, Stanislavski and the Magic If.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like stepping into another person's shoes is what I do. It's almost as if you're living as that person.
I'd just like to say thanks for your time. It's been great speaking to you, and I wish you the very best of luck with the films when they come out. I hope they're actually really successful for you and lead on to lots of great new work for you. It's been really nice speaking to you, and thank you. It's been really nice.
Thanks a lot, Ian.